This is the Poco M8, and from afar looking at the back you might think it has 4 cameras. Looking a little closer though, this one is an LED flashlight. This isn't a camera. Also, this isn't a camera. This is the only camera which is 50 megapixels. But cameras aren't the only thing missing from this phone. It also doesn't have a fingerprint sensor. On the website it says that it does have one, but my version definitely doesn't. And this is a budget phone, so it's not the end of the world. It still has face unlock. And this only costs £199. However, Poco has a sister company, Redmi, and they make the Redmi Note 15 5G, which is a very similar phone for the exact same amount of money, but the Redmi has 2 rear cameras, an ultra-wide and a main shooter which is 108 megapixels. It also has a fingerprint reader. But this doesn't mean the Poco still isn't great value for money. In the box you get a 45 watts charger, you also get a power cable, and it even gives you a case. The battery life on the Poco M8 is actually fairly decent. It has an internal battery which is 5,520 mAh. It has a max charging of 45 watts, so it's pretty handy you get the 45 watt charger in the box, and I found with moderate use it can last about a day, but with light use it can last up to 2 days. Now, usually the screen is the first place you can see a budget phone saving a bit of money because it has thicker bezels or not a bright screen, but that's not the case with the M8. It actually has 3,200 nits of peak brightness, so super bright and vibrant, and also the bezels are actually really thin, on par with some flagships. It also has a refresh rate of up to 220 Hz. These days, if you have less than 90 Hz refresh rate, it feels slow and sluggish. This feels really rapid and fast at 120 Hz. It's also a fairly large screen at 6.77 inches. It's not too big, it's on par with what I'd say the most popular flagships are. And it's also got 3840 PWM dimming. Now, I don't really know what those letters and numbers mean, but what it does mean is at night you can put the brightness right down and it won't absolutely blind you, which is always a good thing. Now, onto more performance specs, this does come with the Snapdragon 6 Gen 3. It also has 8 gigs of RAM and 256 gigabytes of storage on the base model. But it does have expandable storage using a micro SD on the SIM card tray, which you can expand up to 1 terabyte. I love to see this in more phones, but you only really see it in the budget phone category. But amazing option to save a little bit more money, but still have massive storage. Now let's take a look at cameras, starting with the front-facing camera, which is 20 megapixel. I'll take a few selfies so you can see the detail and clarity. It has 2 lens options from the one camera, a 1x and a 0.8x. Now the 0.8 is a wider field of view so you can get more in the photo, and it also can record at 720p 30 frames per second or 1080p 30 frames per second. Now let's take a look at the rear camera, which is 50 megapixels. I've taken various different photos outdoors in different lights of different subjects, mostly plants, just to show off its vibrance and how well it can capture close up, far away, and also loads of different colors. And you'll see that actually does a really nice job of taking a decent photo because it still is 50 megapixels. Now, you of course don't have lots of different options in terms of ultra wide angle or zoom in. It does have a digital zoom of 2 times, but it's okay. It's not going to change much, to be honest. I'll rather just step a little bit closer and have a clearer image. But you'll see from these photos, it does take a decent picture. You also can get some filters and also a beauty mode when taking photos if you want it to look a little bit more beautiful, I guess. But it also has an editing AI software after where you can remove some things, change the sky if you wanted to. So there is still some options with AI to improve the photo, but it does do a fairly decent job of taking a photo to begin with. On the back, it also does have an autofocus sensor, so it actually is really quick at autofocusing on a subject, which I think is really good for when you're taking video. So the example here just shows me showing an object off the screen, putting it back on screen, and then it autofocuses almost immediately. It's really hard to actually see where it jutters to find the autofocus because it's less than a second that it takes to autofocus. Really impressed with that feature, but still, it's got the limitations of having one camera. Now let's take a listen to the speakers. What I love about the Xiaomi products is they say the speakers can go up to 300%, which is not realistic. But anyways, let's listen to a song at 300% to see how clear it is and how loud it is.
Take me back to a place where I felt at home. Take me back to a day when we weren't alone. Take me back to an age when the world felt small. Way back before we blew it all. Take me back to a place where I felt at home. Take me back to a day when we weren't alone. Take me back to an age when the world felt small.
Now, considering this is a budget phone that is actually really thin, it does a decent job. It has speakers at the top and also at the bottom, so when you're holding it like this, watching a film or listening to a music video or whatever, you will get that even sound either side, which is really nice. And it doesn't do a terrible job. Now, it's obviously not super high quality, but I'm not expecting that. For £199, not bad. There's so much to like about the Poco M8, not just the price, but the screen is really good, it's bright, it's vibrant, it's got really thin bezels, it's also fluid at 120 Hz. Even though it's only got one camera, it's a strong camera, and there's loads of other phones on the market that also only have one camera and perform really well. It's even got an IR blaster, expandable storage with a micro SD up to 1 TB. It's got a Snapdragon chip, the 6th Gen 3. It's also got 8 gigs of RAM, so much going for it, and decent speakers. However, this exists. This is the Redmi Note 15 5G, same price, $199, all the other specs the exact same as the Poco M8. However, it has 2 cameras on the rear, it has the ultra-wide and the 108 megapixel main shooter. So it's got double the pixels of the M8 for the main shooter and an additional camera, and it's also got a fingerprint reader as well, if that's important to you. It also, of course, can do face unlock and everything else. So, because this exists, I can't recommend the Poco M8 over this. The only real difference is the look of the back, but when you incorporate either a skin or a case, they will look identical. So there's no reason for me to say go for the M8 over the Redmi Note 15, because they are identical in every way, but this is just better for the same price. And if you wanted to see a full review of the Note 15, you can find it on my channel, but I'll also include a link to the video in the description down below. I'd love to know what you guys think of the M8 in the comments down below as well. Let me know what you like about it, what you don't like about it. If there's anything I missed or if you have any questions about this, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, of course, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I'll see you guys next time.